Hello and welcome to another in the series of Café Insights. I'm Andrew Vine, the founder and CEO of the Insight Bureau, and today I'm in conversation with the creativity explorer himself, Fredrik Härén. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And nice to see you in Singapore again.
Nice to be back.
You spent how many years living here?
17.
Wow. Yes, I knew it was a long time. I've known you for most of those 17 years, but you live in Sweden now, but make Asia a place that you come and visit.
Yeah, so Singapore is the place that made me a global speaker.
Indeed.
And my base is Sweden, but I'm still a global speaker. So, I come back here quite a lot.
Yeah. You are a writer, you interview people, you've written books, you're obviously a speaker, an expert on this area of ideas generation, creativity. Just in a nutshell, what does it take to be a creative person?
So I used to define myself as creativity expert for many years. Mm-hmm. I've been studying the topic for 25 years. But then I reframed it from creativity expert to creativity explorer, actually thanks to my son, who, by mistake, said I'm a creativity explorer instead of a creativity expert. And the definition of explore is to venture into unknown territory in order to learn more about it. So an explorer wants to learn new things. An expert is someone who knows everything. And this is also very true to creativity, is you're looking to learn something new. Same with curiosity. What new things can I learn? So creativity is that. So explore works very well. The explorer mindset is very much the creative mindset.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And you are indeed exploring all the time. You do countless interviews with people who are doing new and interesting things around the world. That really keeps you sharp.
Yeah, so I've interviewed everyone from heads of innovation to people living in North Korea and everything in between. Like, what can we learn about creativity from the nomads in Mongolia, or from the people living in the slums of Mumbai, or a sushi chef, or human creativity is my topic.
You've written a whole number of books, I think 9 or 10 books in total, but the three that stand out, of course, is the Ideas book, which is a brilliant concept of having a book come notebook, so you can create and capture your own great ideas as well. But another was Developing World. But the one I really liked as well is this global mindset.
One world,
one company.
Yes, it wasn't on the topic of creativity, but it was because I was traveling so much and I was talking to the companies about how to build a truly global company. And it's still one of my favorite books. Yeah. But creativity is my passion.
Right. And arguably creativity is something that is almost rhetorical, that which company doesn't want to and feel it needs to be a creative, innovative organization?
Yeah, but it's interesting. I had a discussion a couple of days ago with one of the people I interview. It's a client. And we want you to come. We are doing a management team here. We are not as innovative as we would like. And in the brief, they said, Fredrik, you met so many companies. Which companies are better than us? And I came up with this concept of corporate imposter syndrome. So everywhere I go, and it doesn't matter, every company I go to, they all feel, we're so bad, we need to be more innovative, we suck at it, we need to be we need to be more like these other companies. But every company feels this way. There's a general imposter syndrome around innovation and creativity, which I think is very unfortunate.
And obviously you can look at this from an individual perspective, a team perspective, a corporate perspective, and also an industry perspective as well. Everywhere you go, everyone's been talking about innovation is nothing new. We've been innovating one way or the other. I mean, the definition of innovation is doing something different that adds value, which is one definition.
Yeah, it's always, there have been periods in human history where we haven't been very creative at all. As long as I've been studying the topic, since the 70s, creativity has been one of the most important topics for business. But it's never, in the 25 years that I have been studying it, it's never been more urgent than right now. And the reason is because we have the whole digital transformation, which has been going on for 25 years. And now we have the whole AI thing, which is coming on top of that. And then we have the whole sustainability thing that is coming on top of that. So there's so many different things that are pushing companies to say we need to do things radically different. And then the whole energy transformation is another one. And the World Economic Forum just recently released the skills of the future, and creativity was number one. Wow. And it's usually high up, but now the number one skill you need in the next 5 years is creativity. And I truly, it's a very hot topic right now.
Well, arguably, if the challenges have never been so high, it is the time where you need to be thinking harder, what to do differently. Otherwise, things will never change.
Yeah,
to your
but
advantage.
not just challenges, it's opportunities. I don't look at any of those things that I mentioned as challenges. These are huge opportunities. And what companies feel is we have these opportunities here. Like use AI as an example. Wow, how could we now use this? Why are our people not playing around with this? Why are they not curious about how we could use this? That's their frustration.
I do remember seeing, this is many, many years ago, one of your presentations, and the penny really dropped when you said that creativity is about taking two things and combining them in a new way.
It's the process of doing that, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant, and that's something that stuck with me forever. I also remember you saying that a game changer was when you were able to combine the internet, this new smart thing that came along 15 years ago, so with things, and that
with anything,
with anything,
yeah.
Exactly, almost anything. Fast forward to today, now we have AI, and that looks like it's going to be the new big game changer, that even bigger than the internet was.
Oh yes, and so you're right. The first 5 years I would write and study the internet until I realized, wait, it's not the internet, it's the fact that it was new. You could take any old industry, you could take cars, advertising agencies, travel, and you say, we think we know how to do this, and they say, okay, but now we have the internet, and now we take travel, we add internet, now what can we do? And when you add something new, suddenly new opportunities open up. And now the same thing is happening with AI. We have travel, now how can we use AI, and what can we now do with travel? So it opens up new doors to huge new landscapes of opportunities.
Well, we're so new into this, of course, we only see the tip of the iceberg, probably, of what those opportunities
we are. Where we were on the internet. AI, we were same like the end of the 1990s, where everyone realized internet was going to change things, but no one really knew how. Yeah. And we have the same feeling now. We know it's going to change, but we don't really know how. And that's where it's very important to not put your foot down and say, I think this is how we're going to use AI. No, hold judgment and say, right now I'm just going to study it. I'm not going to decide. I'm just going to learn different ways people are using it, and then we will soon figure it out. It's a good mindset to have.
The criticism is, well, technology for technology's sake. The fact that we can do something doesn't mean to say we should use it necessarily. But then all of a sudden, you play, you experiment, and then you go, well, that's kind of interesting. But now, what if we did this?
Because it's very hard to be creative if you have nothing to tie it to. If I just say something funny, it's actually quite hard to just say something funny. And especially when you are stuck in an industry where you think this is how we do things, and said, how can we do it differently? That's a very difficult question to answer. But if you say, here's this new thing, how can we now do it differently using this thing? It's actually much easier. Even though the creative scope has been very limited, it's easier to think about this, just this thing. And then when you start playing around with this, new ideas, new associations happen. And it might be 3 or 4 or 5 associations later when you come up with the truly meaningful idea. Well, when the internet came, all the stupid things we thought we were going to use the internet for, that was not, and we used to call it web pages because we thought it was going to be just like a book. Internet was going to be like a book. And why did we think that was going to be the internet? Now then we called it dynamic pages. Now if we look at how the internet looks today, we would never use the metaphor of a page because it's not a page. It's much more than that.
The possibilities are intriguing. What do you think, though, as companies are grappling with the challenges and trying to take advantage of the opportunities at the same time? What are the successful companies going to need to do? How should they be thinking about their preparedness, either as organizations or indeed all of their people?
I think first they need to identify their own creative DNA or their own creative process, because a lot of companies go, we want to be more like Google, we want to be more like Tesla. But no, you don't. You want to figure out, when are we the most creative? It's just like a person. If an engineer thinks in a very different way than a dancer. They're both creative, but in very different ways. The dancer shouldn't try to become an engineer. The engineer should not try to become a dancer. And you should not try to become Tesla. You should look at, when are we the most creative as an organization? Why is that? How can we utilize that power more?
Well, clearly, creativity is going to be at the center of a lot of corporate thinking, and this is how we work together, going to organizations and helping them enable their people to be more creative, get the right mindset, to be able to take advantage of the positive change that's happening around the world.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, because my father was a music teacher, and he got the question, how do you make someone a musician? And he said, you can teach any person to play an instrument. You put your fingers like this, you blow through the pipe, and now you can play the flute. But he said the only way to make someone a musician is through inspiration. Show them Fred Astaire, show them Frank Sinatra, show them Michael Jackson, and show them great music, and they will suck it up and they will start experimenting. Every organization wants their people to be more creative, but it's not enough to give them 6 thinking hats or another creativity technique. You need to get them inspired about the idea of wanting to do things differently. It's not about getting a few Elon Musks or a few Steve Jobs. I always say, imagine if your whole organization, everyone was inspired to become a little bit more creative. What would happen at the end?
So it cascades all the way through the organization.
Everyone, from the secretary to the CEO, everyone tries to fight 1% more to challenge the way we do things, and the effect is huge at the end of the day.
Brilliant. Well, there's some good ideas there. Thank you very much, Fredrik, for spending a bit of time with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
And look forward to seeing you back in Singapore before long.
Yeah.